time for another wrestling podcast.
All right. Are you fucking kidding me?
Guys, I got blocked again on Twitter.
I'm your mark of marks.
That's the most reliable source on the interwebs.
The social assassin at your disposal, bitches.
Guys, I'm Disney wasted. I've been in Disney World. That's why we weren't here last week. I was walking around doing Disney. No NXT though. It was strictly everything else Disney. I got Disney Plus while I was at Disney. Like, it's weird, right? It's you're getting the TV show when you go to the world, and it's crazy, man. I don't know. It's an experience.
How big was the promotion in Disney World for Disney Plus?
Everywhere you look, man. I saw like The Mandalorian 20 times before I saw it live on Disney. You know, like just you look up everywhere. You know, like they have billboards, whatever. Everything was Mandalorian everywhere. And then you would just see like the regular Disney Plus signs, but everything else was all Mandalorian. Say it 3 times, make a wish.
It's a pain in the ass. The whole fucking thing for me has been a process because I'm already a Hulu subscriber, and I subscribe specifically with the no commercials plan. And the problem with that is with the bundle, it's just the basic Hulu thing. So you literally have to make a separate account. They're still going to charge you $12.99 for Disney on top of my Hulu plan, but then credit me back $5.99, the cost of a basic Hulu plan. It's so fucking confusing. All I want to do is watch the old Spider-Man series from when I was a kid and the X-Men show from when I was a fucking kid. But no! I gotta pay $24 a month, and then they're gonna credit me back $6 at some point a month. Like, it makes no fucking sense.
Disney Plus in our world, guys. Episode 238. Another wrestling podcast. Guys, today Ken Shamrock is back on another wrestling podcast. He'll be sitting down with Jonathan Benjamin, JB, talking. Guys, Ken Shamrock was one of our first guests on the show. I forget what episode, but it was like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9. It was like in that realm of early episodes, I believe. So he's back though, and he's got a lot more to say. He's been doing a lot lately. Even jobbing to Joey Ryan's, thing. Ken Shamrock's back. I love it. The dude's more in shape than I am right now, so I can't say anything. The dude's...
How old is he right now?
He's in his 50s, like 54, 52. He's around that thing. I think it's up there, or just 50, or something like that. But either way...
I'm sure he's probably going to take a fight sometime soon in 2020.
With his new promotion out and that, I mean... I'd love to see him in the WWE Hall of Fame. I hope, he would have a better run than Goldberg had. I don't know about that. I'd love to see one last little match for Ken, but...
Are you really going to compare Goldberg's career to Ken Shamrock? Goldberg drew more money. Ken Shamrock was 10 times the entertainer, wrestler, than fucking Goldberg could ever hope to be.
That's fact.
Do you guys see Ken Shamrock being a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I think he's earned it. I mean, his feud with The Rock is pretty classic to me.
He was a King of the Ring.
Yeah.
IC champion. He was a hardcore champion.
But he was the first Brock Lesnar, if you will, the first Ronda Rousey, the first, the successful MMA guy, then to be successful to an extent in WWE. I mean, he had the IC championship, but they never really went too much farther than that. I mean, stopped with The Rock or something happened. I forget.
I give him my vote of confidence. I mean, if Coco Beware can get into the Hall of Fame, Ken Shamrock definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
I was
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, but back to real quick to Disney though. Shamrock will be on soon, guys. Disney World, Disney wasted, Disney Plus wasted. You were watching what? You want to see old Spider-Man? I had like Tailspin on, Darkwing Duck. I'm representing it over here. I'm trying to relive my childhood of just old stuff. I love it, and I know it's still got some progression because it doesn't have like every movie now, right? I mean, they gotta wait for some contracts to end. Or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. None of the X-Men movies are up on there yet.
Yeah, just the cartoon.
The Fantastic Four isn't up there. Not that it matters. I mean, I own most of those movies anyway. But
it's gonna come later, kind of thing. It's like they need something to release later.
Infinity
War. A lot
of
those movies are also shitty ass fucking ratings. So you wonder, Are they even going to put them up there just to protect the MCU type of thing? Because a lot of those movies were bombs, dude.
What I'm not concerned about. As a dad, I've watched all the Toy Stories. They don't have the newest Toy Story because it literally just came out on digital too. But how are they going to do that to where, if it's a Disney movie, like, does it come out on, like, to buy it for a few months and then it gets released on there? I didn't read. I don't know. I was wondering about that because they don't have Toy Story 4. That's what I'm trying to get to.
They're probably going to release just like how Netflix does it, where like when the new releases finally add on, it's already been on digital for a while now.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 months afterwards.
Yeah.
It's usually the run.
Yeah. Try to get that money first, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's. Oh no, you know what? Endgame isn't on Netflix, is it?
No, Endgame.
No, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, Disney Plus.
Infinity War and Ragnarok, I believe, are the only 2 Marvel movies left on Netflix. I think they are done in December. I might be wrong. I think Black Panther might be on there too.
And then the other ones that I noticed that weren't on there was the latest Star Wars movie, and Solo wasn't on there because I believe they're still tied up with Netflix.
Yeah,
Well-
Solo, I believe, is on Netflix.
But it's a slow burn, I guess, for Disney Plus. We gotta wait a few more months to get the full package. No pun intended.
But meanwhile, if you want the total package of everything in the wrestling world, you could get the WWE Network for how much, Credo?
$9.99.
I'm man.
There you go. We need a network. We need to just pay us $9.99. We'll give you some goodies, guys. Now like I said, we've been Disney wasted. We've been locked and loaded with Disney Plus, but some things happened this week, and I think the most notable one that needs to be said right now is CM Punk. He's not back, but he's back, right? I mean, it's such a weird thing right now because I feel like I'm being worked. It's like Fox hired me. I'm not hired by WWE, but to put him on there to not have a filter, that is like ultimate, like CM Punk. So I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I want to see what happens, and of course, everybody wants to know if he's going to wrestle or not. The fans want it, but I mean, just let alone just being a host or a guest or whatnot on this show, hired by Fox. What does that mean to you? I mean, like, what do you think could he change the product by shitting on the product every week, if you will, or what? What do you see for the CM Punk relationship?
Oh God! All right, let me start off by saying this. I really, really like this show. And as much as I make fun of Renee Young on commentary, and I hate her on commentary, but I always said I always liked her on those panel type shows, and this is her show, so she's perfect for this. This is her fucking bag. And when you bring somebody in with the lack of filter, like a CM Punk, who is not handcuffed by the WWE, this is going to be very interesting. I'm very curious to see how long this is gonna last, because once like big events start going on and he starts doing what he does, how long until Vince is like, what the fuck? We gotta get rid of this motherfucker. Right? Like, seriously, I'm like, how are you gonna let this happen? Like, and you approve this? You're fucking crazy. The only reason they approved it is because they feel like it's the baby step to get him back in the door, to get him in the ring, and keep him away from AEW.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, Mike. Would you agree? Because if he went to AEW, that's another shot at WWE. Punk couldn't even do anything. He could just literally stand there, but just to be a part of their team or whatnot. Like, I don't know, man. It's like and I feel like he also didn't they say he also had like a chance to sign with them, and then there's all this news about like they text messaged him about a deal or
yeah.
They
text him. They didn't even reach out like phone call. They text him about it. Which, if you wanna talk business to me, like, you could text me to let me know we're gonna talk, and then let's have a conversation man to man about business. But don't text me about business. Let's have a conversation about it.
Well, here's the question: did they text him to say we want to have a meeting and he denied, or did they text him and say we want to talk business through text? Because I highly doubt that any professional like the Khan family or somebody like Cody Rhodes, who you is going to expect to have to respect somebody like that and do them properly, is going to let that happen.
Well, I don't know the specific details of it. I just know that they sent him a text message Whether it was like, hey, let's talk about business, or they were trying to negotiate through text. I don't know. I agree with you, though. I don't think they're going to do it through text, but if they did, that was kind of like the wrong way to approach it.
I wonder if it happened the weekend of that All-Star, the
StarCast event? Yeah.
To where it's like they knew he was going to appear there, so like I wonder if they offered it to him that week so that like him going there, they'll try to offer him something, but it wouldn't be as much. I'm just guessing, right?
I want to say though
that
the reports of him, whatchamacallit, asking about the show or being interviewed for the show happened before the StarCast was even on the radar.
Yeah.
That report had come out, and I could be wrong, but that's sort of the timeline I remember.
It's so unique. No matter whether you love him or hate him, though, I'll tell you what, because the fans 6 years later are still chanting CM Punk in the arenas, just like they chanted ECW. Like he is 40, I think 41 he's gonna be or whatnot, and I'm not saying that's old, but you're not gonna have too much left in him. But just to see him on the show,
AJ Styles is that age.
Oh my goodness. Well, just no restrictions. You know what I mean? Like no. I keep thinking about the possibilities because, like I was saying, where maybe he could push them in the right way. If he's criticizing him enough, Fox could be like, well, you know what? He's right. How come you guys aren't doing this on SmackDown? Or you know what I mean? Like he could have that power of persuasion to where they're kind of in line with his ideas, right? To where Fox might kind of argue that they want that for their show SmackDown now.
Hey, Credo. I can't wait to hear him talk about the Rusev and Lana storyline.
I was hoping they got into it this Tuesday.
See what I mean?
I can't wait for this.
This is what's gonna make. That's the unique thing about it, because now all the shit that we hate and like, why the fuck are they doing this that we talk about? All I'm going to now is like, wait a minute, I want to hear what Punk has to say about it because, you know what I mean? Like, there is no filter on it, so it's a unique dynamic, and you have to be excited for this just to hear what he's gonna say, I guess.
I'm excited for the show. I'm excited that and let's get this straight. He's an analyst for Fox. He's paid by Fox. How annoyed I've been in the past week that people were like, he's coming back. WWE signed him. Like, he's through Fox. I got an argument with someone because I was comparing him being an analyst to, like, an A-Rod who's an analyst for Fox. Yep. And someone tried to tell me that you can't compare that to that. I'm like, what do you mean? It's the same fucking thing. A-Rod is an analyst that breaks down baseball. Punk is an analyst that breaks down professional wrestling. No matter what, this guy still said it's not the same thing, which is stupid. Cooter, you know how you were when AEW first came out and you got annoyed about talking about it and you're like, I don't want to talk about it. This is fucking annoying. I'd rather see what they have to offer.
You see, you're twisting the words, but I know where you're going with it. So I'll just say
you know
yes.
what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. So yes.
I might have worded it wrong, but you know exactly.
Right.
That's how I feel with people like, CM Punk is gonna wrestle again. He's gonna be the number 30 in the Rumble, or the Survivor Series is in Chicago. They have to bring him out. Like I don't want to talk about him wrestling right now because I'd rather talk about it when it happens.
Yeah.
Because it's just pointless. Because as of right now, I'm being led to believe that he's not going to wrestle again, and I'm just going to keep it at that. Like, I don't want to talk about, there's potential dream matches and stuff like that. There are, but it's not happening as of right now. So
for sure. Well, guys, for that though, just CM Punk alone, that fact, like on next week's show, our Thanksgiving episode, I think we have to do what we're thankful for this year, because so many things have happened in 2019 than they have ever happened in the progression of pro wrestling before, from the launch of AEW, CM Punk returns, like there's a laundry list of other things though, but I think that's. We're getting on the right track for our Thanksgiving episode, guys. But, that's it, though. That's the aspect. Like, you don't need him to wrestle right now. Just him being near a WWE product or talking about it, that's ratings for me.
I think that doubled the rating from what they were saying on Busted Open.
And it's amazing. Yeah. It's just, you don't get a lot of those people in your life, or let alone in the wrestling business. And regardless how you want to compare him to whatever wrestler throughout the years, but... he's one of those guys that are just gonna draw. Like, people want to see him, people want to hear from him, people want to meet him. Like, that's it, man. He's a draw.
Let's just hope he doesn't get too controversial and potentially say something stupid like other people.
Oh my goodness. Would you like to bring that up, Cooter?
I do, because here's the thing. I'm a big fan of Jim Cornette's podcast. I think he's one of the most funniest people ever. He's just a wealth of fucking wrestling history and knowledge and everything. And he just sees the wrestling business as the way he feels it should be. And anybody who doesn't agree with him can fuck off. And he's very talented on commentary. I remember those Raws that he used to do with Vince. And to hear him on the commentary team and the few times that I've heard him on Power, he's really, really good. But God damn, can you not say some dumb shit that is just going to get you fired when you're doing something other than your podcast?
No, and I'm reading. So when you're saying that, I'm reading like, what did he say? And I'm gonna say it on air.
Don't say it.
I have a lot of. I have friends of every race. Everybody.
My God, no! You can't say that.
But it's not like the N-word. I'm not saying the N-word.
I know, but you can't say, "Oh, I have black friends. I'm not racist." You can't say it. You can't say
it.
It's
I hope my
not
black
allowed.
friends are listening to this tonight, because you guys know me, right? Come on, right? Come on now. All right, I won't read it, but you can Google it. I just Googled what did Jim Cornette say, and it's not. It's like it's one of those jokes that like a Don Rickles would say, or like it's just like old comedy. But he didn't say the N-word. He just made fun of. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
It was a very insensitive comment,
Right.
and I want to say this. I think it is, and I can't say that it's an overreaction because I don't know how it makes other people feel. And here's my thing. You've heard me say some fucked up shit on this podcast, Credo. You have spent a lot of time in your life editing some of my shit out of this show. Believe me. How much of this goes against Jim Cornette, and how much of this should go against the people who are listening, watching, and editing the show before it goes up on YouTube?
No, yeah, and that's it. Like, that should have been caught. You know, like, it's not one person sees it and surprises the world, like, this is the episode. You know, like, if it's taped, if it's recorded, if you're editing it, a lot of people see it before it hits the air, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
So, okay, yeah, Jim said what he did, but whatever. People have to say stuff on the fly in the world of wrestling. But if somebody's editing it and hear that, and they could have edited it out. Like, they didn't, and he didn't have to be fired. You know, like, they didn't have to show it. It wasn't live. He didn't do it.
He didn't. I don't think he fired.
No, he resigned.
He resigned.
Because he doesn't want. That's the thing. Everybody wants to go after that one story, and they're just gonna eat the NWA for what they're doing. They're gonna eat it, take it down, if you will, because of what he said. And it's like, okay, don't let him ruin what you guys are doing already. That's good, you know. But it sucks. But that's what they got to do. You got to resign. Whatever. Nobody can just apologize anymore. He can't just be like, I'm sorry, I didn't think what I was saying. Oh, okay, it's okay. Jim.
Exactly.
Okay, and it's like, come on.
That's part of what bothers me is even if he apologized, that's not going to fix anything because apologies don't mean shit anymore. And I feel bad for him in a way, even though, you know what, he did dig his own grave. But Mike, let me ask you, because I know you're a Busted Open listener, and I know they interviewed Mark Henry about it, and I understand Mark's feelings about it. But how do you feel about some of the comments that Tommy had to say about Jim Cornette?
Well, I remember I listened to it, and you know, he said it's nothing personal against him. It's just that he doesn't agree with the negativity. Like because I mean, like as you said, like Jim Cornette has his own opinions about the world of wrestling these days, and if you don't agree with his opinions, then he's gonna tell you to go fuck off, suck a dick. You know, he's very blunt and out there, and Tommy feels like he brings more like negativity to the world of pro wrestling rather than kind of like encouragement and positivity. You know, I can agree and disagree, meaning where like I can agree. I'm not a big proponent or big fan of like negative shit. Like I'd rather be surrounded by positive vibes and all that stuff. But at the same time, Jim Cornette, if he's not offending anybody and he's just bugging out and flipping out about something, it's funny shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really is.
But for him to say he's irrelevant, do you agree with that?
Relevant.
No, he's saying that Jim Cornette's out of touch and irrelevant.
I would say out of touch because there's a lot of things that I don't agree with the Jim Cornette kind of critiques and goes after. Irrelevant? No, I wouldn't say he's irrelevant. But I would say out of touch to certain aspects, yes.
It's fair enough.
Here's the thing. We met him a few years ago. He did a show here in Poughkeepsie. We recorded it. There's actually a hidden gem on anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. You can watch the whole comedy show. Anyway, it's on our site. Gotta find it. It's just that I can't say that it's there. I can just say that it's hidden to watch it. Anyway, legal reasons. But no, we met him backstage, and I think Jim's the kind of guy that I think he'll tell it like it is, but at the same time, I think it's kind of his thing. It's his character, it's his gimmick kind of thing, to where he might say stuff just to say it because he knows people are gonna, like that's, I don't know, you know what I mean? To where he's
controversy creates cash.
Yeah, so like he's gonna say, like knowingly say that, to where, I don't know, because when I met him, he's a really nice guy, but then when he went on stage, like
Let me ask you this: Would you put me on commentary knowing the kind of stuff that comes out of my mouth? I mean, not for nothing, because I know he has the ability to control himself to an extent. But that's the other thing. Not only did you not edit it out, you know who he is, and you know who you're putting on the mic. I kind of blame NWA for that more than I do Jim Cornette.
I do want to plug though that the reason why you guys should download us right away when the show goes up, because sometimes I might leave in something that Cooter says and I forget to edit it out, and he'll call me and he'll call me on it. So it's like if you gotta listen to it every Friday, anotherwrestlingpodcast.com, subscribe. And if I forget because I'm editing it later on and I kind of zone out that Cooter might have said something really bad, hateful, racist, Islamophobic,
How many of your fuck you, man? How many of your mistakes have I had to Oh, Credo, you put the same interview in like 3 times in the same show. You might want to fix that. Give me the timestamp, guy.
Cooter's like my spot check man, right? So I should be doing this
honest
before I post it live, but that's like you never know what you can get if you download it right away. But anyway, but speaking of what happened to Jim Cornette, how about somebody who kind of did this to themselves? Category. What's
Are you talking about Jordan Myles?
Jordan Myles, yeah.
ACH,
whatever that stands for. Dude, okay, first of all, to me, he's still a nobody. I have no idea who he is. I saw him in one good match or whatever on NXT. Other than that, I don't know you. You have no name for me for anything, right? So, I don't know what he did, man. I think he's just, maybe he went crazy. Maybe he tried doing it for a gimmick, but now I don't know. It's too much. It's too controversial. And for me, now that he quote-unquote left, I think WWE let him go, like, kind of under the radar. Who the fuck's going to hire this guy? I'm not going to hire this guy. What if he freaks out on me, because what? I didn't make him a champion and whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
he's going to go to AEW where they're all inclusive. They even hire fucking idiots, bro.
But you know what I mean? Like, this guy, like, he had it. He had the WWE contract. And for what? Because he approved, then he, like, a shirt that he approved or what? I don't know.
He basically, I mean, I read like a lot of his tweets. He approved it when it was on a white T-shirt.
Gray T-shirt, yes.
White or gray T-shirt, and then they finally put it out there, and it was on a black T-shirt. And I mean, I see the thing, and I don't want to go down that road again because this has been talked about for months already, and a lot of people have already heard the whole issue. So I'm kind of gonna skip the T-shirt thing. But when he lashed out, allegedly, he has mental health issues. And if that's the case, I hope that he gets that fixed. And whatever he needs to do, he just needs to take a break from professional wrestling and worry about his damn self right now before he has a psychotic breakdown and goes nuts. I mean, that video, that damn video, man, that right there is career suicide.
And Triple H had a phone call today for a press call for about NXT TakeOver this weekend, War Games, and he was talking about like a lot of these guys, like why do that on social media? Like, if regardless of whose mistake it was, just call him. Don't be posting videos on it by, like, and trying to, pretty much burn down your bridges between people. Like, people make mistakes. You got to remember that I don't think a lot of it, I don't think that was intentional. You know what I mean? Because you could just pick whatever color you want on your shirt. It could be purple, red, yellow, whatever. So, regardless of what it is,
I get it.
Don't fucking social media hate yourself.
You know what? I know I called ACH a fucking idiot, but when dealing with mental health issues and you're shooting off your mouth, hell, like I said before, you and I didn't talk for how many years because I shot off my mouth. I fucking regret that. He's gonna regret that. But when I look at guys with mental health issues, we've heard Leo Rush has them. We've heard Mauro Ranallo has them. And we've seen WWE have the ability to give these guys second chances and help them in some ways. And I was kind of hoping that they could do the same for this gentleman. But I think maybe he went so far that maybe he needs to take care of himself before he can go back. I mean, I know I had to take care of myself for a while before I could start rebuilding old friendships and new friendships. I mean, some people just got to go down that road, and it's sad and it's unfortunate, and I hope he gets the help he needs.
Yeah, and it's sad too because, like, I mean, Credo, you mentioned that you don't know ACH or Jordan Myles. I mean, I actually know who this guy. I don't know him personally, but I know who the wrestler is because I've watched him in Ring of Honor. I've watched him in Evolve, and he is an incredible in-ring talent. I mean, he has so much talent. He could have did so many big things. We saw that match with Adam Cole. It was incredible. And then this happens. And just like, like you said, Cooter, and I 110% agree. I just hope whatever issues he has going on, he gets that fixed and he hopefully signs somewhere.
But I feel like just what the stunt that he did, people are going to be afraid to sign that dotted line really right away, but I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. But guys, we were talking for a while about the ratings, NXT AEW, and the whole build-up with the Survivor Series this weekend. They had a lot of talent on there, whatever, regardless of what you want to say, what happened was, but at the end of the day, NXT won. They got a point in the ratings war. So it was 916,000 to 893,000. But who's counting anyway? But they beat them. What do you guys think about this? Is it a big deal? Or is it going to be like they're going to have to do it again next week and then the following week or whatnot? Or is it just that AEW is losing that luster?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think the fact that you had a lot of the main roster guys on, and those were some incredible matchups that we got to see. Revival and Undisputed Era was an amazing match. The shortened version that we got of Rhea Ripley and Becky was great. Just the interaction from that melee at the end of NXT. I mean, it was just a really good show going into the whole pay-per-view weekend. Whereas I didn't even watch AEW this week because if it's not, I'm not dedicating 2 hours to just wanting to see what Jericho was going to do and Cody and MJF are going to do. I'm not invested in really anybody else. I think a lot of the stuff that they do is fucking stupid. I wish Orange Cassidy would jump off of a building with the hands in his fucking pockets. I can't stand this guy. The shit that they do is... So how is this entertaining? And the lack of roster is really starting to show. We're starting to see more and more a lot of the same matchups. You just had Pac and Hangman on a pay-per-view, and what was it, last week that they had a rematch? The fucking night after, the first show afterwards?
The same with Darby Allin and Ambrose, too. Did he wrestle him this week again?
They didn't wrestle again. The first time they wrestled was at an NEW show. This is the first time they wrestled on AEW. But the WWE does that all the time, where there's a match on a pay-per-view and all of a sudden the rematch is the next night on Raw. That's
yeah, but don't you understand the difference is WWE doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, they do it because they're lazy.
Right, exactly. Where if you're trying to be cutting edge and new but you can't be because you don't have you know, the roster that they have, you're very limited, and it sucks because that tag division is fucking atrocious. I mean,
well, I will say this
is garbage. The women's division is.
Yeah.
When the fuck was the last time you were pushing Nyla Rose, and we could say what we want to say about her, but when the fuck was the last time? I haven't seen her on TV. God knows how long.
Well, women's division is nowhere. It's light years away from the WWE's women's division. That's something they got to build. But I will say this because you didn't watch NXT or AEW.
Because I don't watch hot garbage.
I will say it was a good show. It was a good show. I really enjoyed the interaction between Chris Jericho and Scorpio Sky. The crowd ate it up. The back and forth promo between them two was pretty damn good. I suggest whoever hasn't watched it, go out, try to find it. It's actually pretty good. The fact that, they are giving us a different match next week, Jericho versus Scorpio Sky. That's something I've never seen before. NXT was also a great show, too. I'm just, I'll get into my whole invading type stuff when we get there. I just have my own little pet peeve about that. That's the only thing that turned me off about NXT, but if you escape the blue shirts and the red shirts, NXT did put on a great show.
Well, now that's the thing, is because now with these numbers, I'm sure Vince knows about the numbers. I'm sure everybody has to know about what's going on. Is it just now Vince is going to say, well, we're going to have to move more guys over there kind of a thing? You know what I mean? Like, now that, okay, because he had Becky Lynch, and so, a lot of those are surprises, but I think a lot of people anticipated surprises, so they wanted to tune in. But I'm thinking, is it in Vince's head? Are they just thinking like, oh, we need more bigger names? You know what I mean? To where they kind of teased KO moving back to NXT, but then he got beat up, and then the whole thing ensued on Raw or whatnot. But I don't know, what will NXT look like post Survivor Series? To where after this weekend, are they gonna get Kevin Owens? Are they gonna get anybody else? I don't know, just to help divide the shows maybe more. Because it's going to be interesting, because we joked about it too. This is the brand split. 1 week after one whole week of everybody staying on their brands, this all happened because of the whole Saudi thing, but they all started being on everybody's shows kind of thing, right? Not even like a week after the whole draft, so I don't know. Yeah. Can they carry it post Survivor Series? We'll see. Mike, you said, though, this whole Raw NXT SmackDown build-up, what do you hate about it? Because the NXT crew kind of saved the day when the Saudi plane couldn't take off, and I don't know. Isn't this a good way for them to expose NXT, though?
That was, the best thing of this whole Survivor Series build-up is NXT saved the day that night. But as the weeks went on, it just felt like the same thing. Wrestling match happens, NXT talent jumped the guardrail, beat up somebody, end scene. Next night. NXT jumps the guardrail, beats up somebody, we have a brawl. End scene. It's the same thing, recycled. And then now, I talked about this last year, and I'm bringing it up again. It's the return of the red shirts and the blue shirts. They have to fucking put their shirts on. And let me ask you guys a question. The Survivor Series team consists of, SmackDown has Roman Reigns, has Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, and Chad Gable. I refuse to call him Shorty G. And
You mean my sleep pick, Chad Gable, Shorty
Fuck
G?
Yourself. Okay? Those guys are on the Survivor Series team. They're like the main event match. Have you seen them get involved in any of the brawls happening between SmackDown, Raw, and have you seen any of them get involved? I'll wait.
It's an interesting point. No, it is.
They haven't got involved. Did NXT announce their team for Survivor Series? I don't think they did. And the Raw team, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, who am I missing?
Ricochet.
Ricochet's on there, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens. Okay?
So there's 5 people?
There's 5. It's 5 on 5 on 5. It just doesn't do anything for me. And in Raw, it's the same thing where, melee, brawling. The Raw team took forever to get out there. They took forever because they had to put their red shirts on before they stepped out of the fucking ring. There's no way they were leaving gorilla position unless they had a red shirt. What pisses me off too is the fact that out of nowhere, SmackDown comes to the ring on a Raw show. Their theme song hits, and they're coming from the entrance. You got Lucha House Party that fucking comes out of nowhere. Why do I care about Lucha House Party jumping the fucking guardrail?
And wait a minute, why is Lucha House Party trying to beat up fucking what's his face? I mean, he's Mexican too. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, oh, we do have a fourth member of Lucha House Party.
We just need. Oh man.
No, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't interest me at all. I have zero interest. I'm gonna be watching The Walking Dead on Sunday night. I'm gonna watch, a couple matches I'm interested in, but other than that, like,
what on the card are you interested in then?
I'm interested in Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler with Bayley in the corner.
I know. Bayley in the corner, you're a dick.
Well, I'm sorry, but like I have no interest. Bayley hasn't really done anything for me. And I'm interested in the Nakamura, Roderick Strong, and AJ Styles match.
Oh my God, they did pull that one out?
Yeah, that's official.
Credo, didn't I say that 2 weeks ago? Wouldn't that be an amazing fucking match?
You did.
I did say that, and they fucking pulled that shit out. Goddamn right they did.
Well, I miss the days when it was like the Ultimate Warriors, the Hulkamaniacs, the... whatever. I want team names, you know what I mean? Like, I want a captain, and then I want their team, like a tag team. I miss that. I hate like it's always Raw or SmackDown now. Come on, guys. Like, where's creative? Like, let's throw an old one out there.
Credo likes throwbacks. You know why? That's why he bought Disney Plus, so we could watch DuckTales and fucking Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, and then we can watch the fucking Ultimate Warriors versus the Hulkamaniacs.
I guarantee you guys, these guys wrestle in T-shirts on Saturday or on Sunday. Every match, everybody's wrestling in T-shirts.
Should be face paint, like blue paint or like war paint, whatever.
It's painful for me. Man.
Well, it's like I said. I mean, it's been great exposure for NXT nonetheless, and I feel like they need to come out on top this weekend just to put them as the third brand officially, kind of thing, to where the Raw and SmackDown aren't the top dogs anymore, or whatever you want to do, to where, I don't know, NXT needs to really stand out, and hopefully that'll draw more casual fans that don't even watch it to watch it. So, I don't know, it's been fun either way. But I do have, guys, with us the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. He's going to come in. He had a little stint in Impact recently. Hopefully we'll hear about that. But joining us now, Ken Shamrock.
All right, welcome everybody to another wrestling podcast. My name is Jonathan Benjamin, and today we are going to speak with somebody who needs no introduction, the godfather of MMA, and now he is back in the squared circle. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome Mr. Ken Shamrock. Ken, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot going on. You're now working for Impact Wrestling, which may have shocked a few people. Could you just kind of let us know why you chose Impact maybe over some of the other places that you could have went?
Well, first of all, I didn't know I was going to get back in wrestling again. I know I took about a year off to no training, nothing. And then I started back training again after about a year layoff. People started mentioning about how good I looked, and I felt really good. But I didn't know how I would feel if I had started fighting or wrestling again. So I took a match over in BCW over in Australia. I had my first match. I felt really good. I was conservative, though, but I still felt good. Then they invited me to go back and have a couple more matches. So I went back, and it seemed like every time I got into the ring, I felt better and better and better. And then I said, okay, man, I feel really good. So I made a video saying I was putting the wrestling world on notice that Ken Shamrock is making a comeback. And the reason why I did that was because I had been in the ring. I felt great, and I wanted to be able to kind of get the feelers out there to see whether or not there was interest. Well, Impact and myself and Moose started having a little beef over through the social media stuff. That kind of caught on. Next thing I know, I'm wrestling in the ring at Bound for Glory, and I do a suicide dive over the top rope, a showstopper, a hurricanrana. And I haven't done that for 15 years. And I just did it. Just felt like, okay, let's find out whether or not I am really 100%. And I am. And so since that time, I've definitely looked at other places, but I felt like Impact was a place that had room for growth, that it seemed like they were just starting to find their groove. They made some changes. They got a TV deal done. And I felt like, wow, I think I could probably have more of an opportunity here and help this company grow along with myself, because it seemed like there was a lot of room for these people to want to have the company grow at a fast rate, and using me and my character to do that. And so I felt like Impact was a great spot for me. I thought that I have a lot of opportunity here with them. They've treated me well. And so I think within the next year, maybe two, I think that everybody's going to be talking about Impact in a different language, because I think they're going to be up there with the biggest companies.
Well, it's incredible. You mentioned you did those things at Bound for Glory, the suicide dive and all of that stuff, and you said that you're at 100%. I would argue that you are 150%, because there are people that aren't doing that today, and you are on everybody's mind right now. So you wrestled Moose, and recently in the news, we talked a little bit about Joey Ryan. You had this match with Joey Ryan, and it's kind of I want to say it kind of split the wrestling audience in half. Some people think it is a fun thing to do, and some people think that it's mocking the business. What are your thoughts on this?
How in the world can you be a wrestler or a wrestling fan and be against entertainment? I don't get that, because these guys that are saying this stuff are guys that have been put over, guys that have had great careers in wrestling, whether they be announcers, managers, or wrestlers themselves. They're talking bad about a gimmick. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you? They're all gimmicks.
Yep.
So just because they don't approve of someone's gimmick, does that make it wrong? This is entertainment. None of these guys would have the career they had if somebody else didn't put them over. So to me, they're hypocrites.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'm sure you get this question a lot, but I'm going to try to tweak it a little bit. So we see a lot of people, and you were one of the first that crossed over from MMA to professional wrestling. And, you opened that door for a lot of people. We see some amazing people that are doing it today. But my question to you is, in your long career in professional wrestling, and even today, are there any people that you see in professional wrestling that you would think would have a good crossover career to the MMA?
Oh, I don't even want to speculate on that, because I think it's all about the mind and the heart of people wanting to do something and challenging themselves. And so you don't really know, even though you may think somebody could really do well, but you just don't know unless they do it. So, but I take my hats off to anybody who has crossed over and tried something different. Even if they weren't successful, they're braver than 90% of the other people out there, and they should not be criticized or mocked because they've challenged themselves. And maybe they weren't successful, maybe they were. But either way, they're much more braver than the people that didn't do it. Absolutely,
absolutely. So you, coming back to Impact's sort of a homecoming for you, you were their first champion in 2002. And do you have your sights set on that championship, or are you just kind of feeling out what's going on in Impact right now?
No, my sights are set on the World Championship. I got involved with wrestling, and I never get involved in something just to go halfway. I got involved and I chose Impact because I want to be able to go back and get that title. I have history here. I like the guys that are on this squad. Everybody's competing against one another. They are happy for one another, but at the same time, they want to outperform each other. To me, that's a great locker room. It's a healthy locker room, and it really breeds success. So for me, I really love the atmosphere and the competitiveness and also the support.
Awesome. Now, you are aged at 55 years old right now, and are better than most people, like I said, that get out there. What are some of the I don't want to say easy tips, because I don't think it's easy, but what makes you successful at your age doing these high intense sports? Like what's the best thing to do? What kind of regimen do you have?
Well, I think for me, the biggest thing was taking a year off, not training, not doing anything. It's hard because you get depressed. You don't feel good because you don't look the way you used to look. You get soft. But what it did for me was it helped me recover. It really did help me feel good. And then when I started back training again, I came back stronger. I came back even healthier. I came back in better shape because my intensity was there, because I wasn't burned out. I went for almost 27 years and I never took time off. I was always training for the next thing. So I think that took a toll on me. I didn't realize it until I had stepped away and took the time off. Then I went back to training again and I started seeing huge results because I took that time to let my body recover and rest, let my mind rest, let the intensity or the stress just leave my body because there was nothing to train for. And then when I did start coming back, because I just felt like I didn't like what I saw in the mirror, I had all kinds of energy and I felt good doing it. So then people started, mentioning how good I looked. And so then I started getting myself thoughts of getting in the ring. I went in the ring. I felt good. I challenged myself. Now I'm at a point now where I feel like I'm 25 again, whereas there is so much for me to want to achieve right now. And I have goals set for myself. And right now that's exactly my mindset, is to achieve the goals I set for myself.
Well, I would assume some of these goals include some of the things that your endeavors outside of Impact Wrestling right now. And I wanted to talk to you and ask you a few questions about Valor Bare Knuckle fighting. I know that's something that you started. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, a long time ago, when I first started out in this, I really fell in love with the no holds barred. To me, that was the purest of any combat sport. Two guys went in the ring and there was no politics. There's two guys fight. One guy was going to win. The other was going to lose, period. And I fell in love with that. And then they started putting gloves on guys. They sold it as a bill of being safe, which that is just full of crap. When you talk about putting a 4-ounce glove on somebody with tape on your hand, it's like a sledgehammer, but you don't break your hand. You can keep punching them. You don't have to hit a soft tissue. You don't have to be accurate. And so for me, it took away that pureness. The submissions were tough because of the big glove. Guys that were really good strikers, they didn't get rewarded for landing strikes on a button. But guys that would throw haymakers would get rewarded for hitting a guy in the back of the head or the side of the head. They would get rewarded for winning, as opposed to a guy that was more accurate with his punches. So it took away the real purity and professionalism of what I fell in love with. So coming back to your question is that I want to bring it back. I want bare knuckle to come back because we have enough evidence, we have enough medical proof that shows that bare knuckle is not more dangerous than a padded glove. In fact, most people and somebody that has done it himself and other people that have done it will tell you, yeah, I would rather have a glove on because I won't break my hand when I punch you in the head. So now you're saying to guys that, like myself, who are more on the purity side of it, I want to bring back that purity because I think that it will get more professional. You won't have guys that are very inaccurate. You get more precision striking. You'll also get the submissions when you get chokes and stuff. That comes at a later date. But right now, bare knuckle has got to get accepted. And I think the best way to do that is to be able to show people the effects of bare knuckle and also what it looks like when people fight bare knuckle, true bare knuckle, not with tape on the wrists or hands, but true bare knuckle, what it looks like and what the results are. You know, the last fight we had with VBK1, there was one hand that had a bruise on it. There was no broken hands. You look at the other bare knuckle organizations and the UFC, you guys are breaking their hands all the time. Why? Because they got stuff on their hands that gives them a false sense of security about being able to punch somebody as hard as they want anywhere in the head. taking those tapes off, taking the gloves off, your mind is telling you, I can't punch that hard. I got to be more accurate and hit that soft tissue. So that's why I think the education of VP Valor Bare Knuckle will educate people on the safety of bare knuckle, and that what they've been sold for so long is a lie.
Awesome. So not only do you have Valor Bare Knuckle in the works, but you are also working on an autobiography, a book. What made you think that this was the right time to do that, and what can we kind of expect out of this book? What will we learn about Ken Shamrock?
Yeah, Jonathan Snowden's doing that book, and normally when you write these books, you want to try to write it when you're done with everything. Unfortunately, I'm not done. But it's going to be more about me as a kid, living in the streets, lived out of a car in juvenile hall. I had strong arm robbery. I got stabbed, just stuff that the hard stuff that I went through. And then to show where I ended up and the success that I had. So for me, it's really about, if you watch the Rocky story, it's that 10 times, because I am a fighter, and that's what saved me. Was I was able to take my aggressions and my frustration, and I took it out in the ring, and I was able to be successful at it, and it saved me, because before that I was taking it out on other people outside of a ring, and I was getting in trouble. And so for me to be able to direct that anger into something positive, I believe is a story that will resonate with a lot of people, and it's a true story. So I look forward to the book. I think it's going to be hard to read at some times, but the story in the end is the payoff, where you know who I am now. And so I think that for people, when they read it, they're going to be able to enjoy a true story. That is something I think later on will probably turn into a movie.
That's awesome. Now, when you're in this process and you're rethinking of all these stories and tales that you've done, has that been something that has been helpful to you, or is it dredged up any old feelings or anything while you're doing this?
Well, the first time I did a book, it was years back, and it wasn't as deep, but I had to go back and kind of tell a little bit of stuff. And I remember my wife told me that I changed. I was starting to get depressed. I was hiding in my room. So all these things started coming up. I didn't see it. I didn't see that, but she saw it. So I remember she said, when you do this book, because it's going to be much deeper, you need to listen to me when I'm talking to you, because last time you went into a depression. So having her around, being able to, help me not, go down into that deep area again by talking about this stuff, was a tremendous help to me, because she was able to keep me from taking that dive again while I was talking and going through all these old things. So it is very difficult for anybody that has gone through stuff like this. You hear people talk about it all the time. What I think bothers me a little bit, though, when you hear people talk about stories, I can tell whether somebody's truly gone through something like that or not by the way that they act. And a lot of guys talk about it and they don't feel anything. And to me, that's a bad sign, because it doesn't seem real. Not saying it isn't, but it's just, I think if you've really gone through it and you have to bring it up and talk about it again, then there's some heavy stuff that went on. And so for me, that's what happened with me. Was my wife had to coach me out of it again, and bring me back to where I was at, because even when I was fighting and I went through all the stuff I went through, nobody ever heard me talk about that stuff. And because it's buried, you don't want it to be up. But then there's this point in time where you're doing something like this where you have to, right? You got to bring it out. So there's also those things to look at with people when they do talk about it. Anybody that talks about it freely, you got to question it. But people that have hidden it for so long and then they have to bring it out again, that's where that there's some heavy stuff.
Absolutely. So we know in the entire world, we all know you as the world's most dangerous man, and with good reason. But how do you see yourself? Is that something that you like? If you were to give yourself a nickname, what do you think it would be? Would it still be the world's most dangerous man, or are you just kin to you?
Yeah, I've never really. I mean, I embrace the name only because it's entertainment, but I've never really seen myself like that.
Yeah.
To me, being a world's most dangerous man isn't a good thing. So the name, I get it because it's entertainment and we use it in more of a creative way. But when I first heard about it, I didn't want it because to me it represents something bad. So yeah. So it's kind of like that middle ground where it's okay, I get it, it's entertainment, but at the same time, that's not me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it could be argued that wrestling was at its most popular during the Attitude Era, which you were a huge part of. Why do you think that now we're starting to see that creep back in today where it's on the upswing again, professional wrestling?
Well, I think it's because the fans are, and I think you're seeing it in the UFC or the MMA world too. I think the fans are tired. They're tired of the tired. They're tired of the tired, which means it's like, why are we keep doing the same things over again? Why are we not being more creative and trying to create better things? And, when you watch the NFL, there was a time where scores would be 9-6 or 3-0. And NFL got smart and said, you know what? We're losing fans because the game isn't exciting anymore. And so they changed the rules. You can't hit the quarterback. You can't lead with the helmet. And they say it's all for safety, which it is to a point. But really, it's about making the game more exciting. So you can't hit the receivers. You can't hit a receiver that can't defend himself. So now you're seeing 40-45. The game is much faster. It's more exciting. And the fans are piling in to see it. Why do people not look at the entertainment industry and go, wow, that's a great idea. We need to change the rules. We need to make fighting more exciting. How do we do that? I mean, if you get creative, you can find ways for the fighters to be faster, make the fights more exciting, but you got to get out there and put a think tank together and figure out how do we make it more exciting? Because right now they're losing fans. People are not watching like they used to. So how do you do that? And there's a lot of smart people out there and they're not using them. So for me, I said, you know what? If they want to keep going in the same direction and they want to keep putting on, not boring fights, but the same old kind of fights, then I'm going to go out there and put on something different. And that's where VBK comes in, Valor Bare Knuckle. Because I believe 100% without a shadow of a doubt that people fell in with bare knuckle, not MMA.
Absolutely. And that's something I wanted to bring up too is we've seen a little bit more of this and you've been involved, so you would be the person to ask. But have you seen with UFC specifically, that's the only one that I've really been able to watch, but does that not have a more kind of professional wrestling feel to it now more than ever with the fighters trying to have catchphrases and walking out like the way they do? Do you see that happening too?
I do, and I don't have a problem with it except for you got to back it up. You got to go in and fight, right? And you got to make fights exciting. I don't have the problem with the entertainment part, but the fighting stuff, because there's so many of these referees or judges that are not allowing these guys to fight, there's too many rules. And so if the fights are getting like wrestling was back in the day, not pro wrestling, but collegiate wrestling where somebody wins 1-0. Nobody wants to watch that. So you got to get together and start putting your minds together and going, how do we make MMA more exciting? How do we change the rules to where we can have guys being able to finish fights? Because there are rule changes you can make that will make these guys have to go fight better and more and harder. There's ways to do that. And I'm not going to tell them because now I'm competing, not actually head-to-head, but I'm in the industry now. And so if I can do this, if I'm thinking of this, why can't anybody else do that? I mean, I put one show on, VBK 1, and it was a hit. Everybody wants to see the next one. Why? It's not because I'm some genius and goes, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm going to create a new style. Style's been around forever. It's because I know what people want. I listen to the fans. What these guys aren't doing is they're not listening to the fans. They keep doing the same thing over again because they think they're smarter than the fans.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I know you're super busy, and we want to get you out of here. We got one more question for you. 2019 obviously has been a huge year for you. What does 2020 have in store for Ken Shamrock?
Well, I think right now I'm going to definitely. I got my goals set on that heavyweight belt for Impact, and we're going to be doing VBK 2. We don't have a date set yet, but we're getting ready to announce it, lock it down. And we've been teasing a little bit about LeVar Johnson and Mark Godbeer. We'll see if we can get that put together. And that's something I'm really going to enjoy if we put that together. And I think in 2020, I'm biased, but I truly believe there's going to be a shift in pro wrestling. And I think Impact is going to be on the radar within 6 months. And I also believe that VBK will be on the rise and people will be turning, and they're going to have to respect us because we're coming.
That's awesome. Well, what's the best way for people to keep up with you? I know social media is a huge thing, so can you let us know where to find you?
Yeah, KenShamrock.com is where I've got all my social media sites on there. So if you want to go to my Twitter, it's on there. It's at Shamrock Ken. I also have my Facebook, Instagram, all the stuff's on there. So if you guys want to stay in touch with me, or even ValorBK.com, where there's all our information for our bare knuckle. That's on the rise. And in Impact Wrestling, man, stay tuned on that because I think people are going to recognize them in the next 6 months. They're going to be one of the companies people will have to watch for. I want to end on this. I did an interview with Ariel Helwani, and there was a question that Ariel Helwani asked me about the BMF title, and I made a comment on it. And people were, some of them, not all of them, were frying me because I laughed at the BMF title because I was talking about the old school way people used to train, used to fight, how it was so different. There were no maps to it. I want to make sure that I address those people that have been talking smack. You have to understand this. I wasn't laughing at Diaz or Masvidal. Those guys are Hall of Fame fighters. What I was laughing at was the idea of the BMF title. Are you kidding me? They fight once every 6 months or once every year. They wear 4-ounce gloves. And they don't fight 4 times in one night or even 6 or 7 times in a month. So it wasn't that I wasn't saying they were great fighters, because they are. I was laughing at what I had seen and what I had went through with guys like Oleg Taktarov, who would take a beat until he was almost dead, and then he would come back and win. That's a BMF to me, okay? So chill out. Read the whole article before you start making comments, because the things you're saying about me not respecting them, or if I was to fight them today, you'd be thinking differently. I'm 55, man. Please. I'm talking about my experience and what I had seen other guys go through in the bare knuckle days with no referee. The only way you stop the fight is the corner threw in the towel. So chill out, where you can kick a downed opponent in the face. That's a BMF to me. So chill, people. It was a comment. I meant no disrespect towards Diaz or Masvidal. They're Hall of Fame fighters. They're great fighters. It was just the idea of the BMF.
Well, once again, we want to thank you so much, Mr. Shamrock. Looking forward to everything that's coming up with you, and we'd love to have you back on soon. So thank you again for all your hard work.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
You know what? Can we carry on with some NXT stuff real quick? Because as much as I'm looking forward to TakeOver, I'm really looking forward to when this whole invasion thing is over.
Yeah.
Because I was enjoying a lot of what I was seeing before this whole bullshit. Like, I was loving watching them build new guys like Damian Priest and Cameron Grimes. These were guys that, And even Jordan Myles was one of those guys that they looked like they were gonna give a push to, because he was in that. Well, what did they? Yeah, what was the name of that tournament? Like an up-and-coming tournament or whatever the fuck it was.
Up-and-coming, something like that. Yeah, it was basically like a prospect tournament kind of.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, like, TNA did that a couple of times. And, like, I thought watching that brand make new guys on top of, getting a Finn Balor, I like the balance of the show of established guys and watching them build new guys. I thought it was cool. And I'm kind of looking forward to getting back to that, but the fact that we don't have a fourth man in that fucking War Games match, I feel like it's either going to be Triple H or Gargano. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's going to be Velveteen Dream, because Velveteen Dream, there was a storyline where the Undisputed Era beat the shit out of him, and he hasn't been on TV since. So I think they're going to go down that route. I don't think Gargano...
for TakeOver, right? Or for TakeOver, but then... A Survivor Series has a Team NXT, right? Yeah.
For TakeOver, yeah, Velveteen Dream would be on the TakeOver team, or not for the TakeOver for the War Games. Survivor Series, I kind of hope Triple H isn't involved, because I don't want to see Triple H. I want to see like the actual NXT talent. Like Triple H could be out there as a mascot, but I don't want to see him participating in it. I feel like he participates every year. Yeah, you know what I think? They're going to Survivor Series, so I sure know that Vince has the final say in that.
And I'm sure he's going to be on there, because let's be honest, outside of if you were to pick guys who have to go up against big dudes like the Big Dog and Braun Strowman, like you're gonna need a Keith Lee, but how is he gonna be able to after a War Games match? You're going to want somebody like fucking Dominic Dijakovic or whatever his motherfucking name is to be in that shit. But, he's in the War Games match. I mean, who else would you put in there who's got some beef on him, from that roster? Maybe a Walter?
Walter would be great. Walter, I would get maybe, depending... and if he doesn't win the match on Saturday, maybe a Killian Dane. Put him in there, because he's a beast. Walter would be my number one target, to be honest with you, because he's just a monster. And they need that monster presence on that team. Like, everybody else can be like the Adam Cole size or the Ricochet type size, but NXT needs that muscle, because you have... On the Raw team, you have like a Drew McIntyre seems to be the muscle. On the SmackDown team, you have a Braun Strowman. NXT needs a big dude. They need a big guy.
Yeah, they need some beef on that team, and I think that's you know what. And I love Walter. I love his nickname, that moniker, the Ring General or whatever the fuck he says. He really is. Yeah. Everything he's in is amazing. I could even see him pulling a great match out of a Brock Lesnar. I could.
That would be a great fucking match.
As I'm thinking, you guys are making me think about a lot of things, and this is one of the things that just came to my mind. This is, NXT's elevation into the main showcase. It has to be, right? To where this is Survivor Series. This is their first kind of like, not co-pay-per-view or whatever. I know that all the brands are standing out, but fast forward a few months to WrestleMania. Is that going to fill up a lot of WrestleMania? Because now we're going to have just an NXT match? Or will it be like an NXT guy versus a Raw guy? Or, I wonder how they'll craft WrestleMania out to fit some of that NXT roster, right?
Well, if you go back to the original brand split from the first one, and I want to say it was WrestleMania... is it 19 or 20 where they had like it was 20 because it was billed as an interpromotional match of Brock Lesnar, who was on SmackDown, versus Goldberg, who was on Raw. So they did do that from time to time, and then even Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels was billed as a interpromotional match because Shawn was on Raw and Angle was SmackDown. So they have done that before historically.
I'm not even thinking to where, okay, now even this weekend it's NXT TakeOver, their own show, and then they're a part of Survivor Series 2. So I'm like, are they gonna just always have like their own show and then be a part of the main show, or it's a weird dynamic that they're gonna have to get worked out because Raw doesn't have that, SmackDown doesn't have,
Weren't they gonna do like a Worlds Collide show instead of a Takeover, Credo? We read that, or was that for Royal Rumble weekend?
That. Yep. The Royal Rumble weekend.
So maybe,
it's Rumble weekend. Okay.
Rumble weekend.
It's just something. I mean, like it's the end of the year, so I mean they could start a new January 1st. So it's things to think about because now that I don't realize that yes, this is not like a one-off. This is like they're really a part of the main shows, if you will. So I guess Raw gets a pay-per-view, right? SmackDown gets a pay-per-view. They'll have these pay-per-views, but is it going to be any more? I guess are they just going to still be takeovers? I don't know. It's interesting. I'm sure they have it all worked out, but as I'm thinking about it, I had to say it.
Well, no, I think I think you're right, and I think what they might end up doing, because every takeovers do good business and they're good draws because they can fill up arenas with those fucking shows, and they've done it with the cards that we always thought were gonna stink because they lacked star power. Were like really, really good shows.
Some of the best ones.
Yeah, and the ones that were stacked with talent, you would think, oh, well, it's probably not going to be good because they're stacked with talent. No, they're just as good. So I could see them having their NXT title match on like one of the big four or, whatever it's going to be. But I could still see them having that takeover the day before for some of that up-and-coming talent because I think it's important for them to showcase on a bigger stage some of those up-and-coming talent that you're seeing on the USA Network now. So, there's just not enough spots. We don't need 8-hour fucking pay-per-views every month. So that's why I'm kind of like, oh, if this is going to be just the NXT, I'm probably going to watch it because it's only going to be like 2.5. It's going to be under 3 hours. Whereas, one of the big four, it's easily going to be 4 or 5 hours. And now if you're adding NXT onto some of these big four shows, forget about it. Those are going to be 6-hour shows. Pack a lunch, Credo. It's time to watch wrestling,
Yeah. And, this is the first takeover where it's featuring a guy from the main card back on the NXT card, if you will, their show, however you want to call it, with Finn Balor going against Matt Riddle. And I really hope that Finn Balor comes out with different fucking face paint. Like I wanted to do like what he used to do. Every show comes out something different. No more Demon. I think the Demon's done, guys. I think they're gonna let him be himself, and I think we'll get something unique down there because they know how big of a talent he is. They don't want to lose him, so I think he's earned those I can do whatever I want kind of thing wings now. So I don't know. From some of the interviews that I've seen him do, he said he wants to return to what he used to do and his roots. So.
They're starting to like these guys with their fucking multiple personalities. You notice this? You got Finn Balor and you got the Demon. You got Bray Wyatt and you got the Fiend. Like, this is just stuff that they really like doing. Like, somebody over there has got fucking multiple personality syndrome. It's a little fucking retarded.
I'm trying to think of other people that have multiple personalities on their roster now. To think about it.
Lars Sullivan.
It's still working.
Lars, and then that other Twitter handle that he uses. I can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even think of his fucking name. Oh, fuck.
But guys, with either way though, with NXT TakeOver War Games happening this weekend, we're not going to go over the whole card, but just you said what you wanted to see. I'm a Finn Balor. I want to see that Finn Balor Matt Riddle match because who's going to win? Does Finn lose his return kind of match? Matt Riddle, will he beat him? A lot of good stuff. A lot of good, the War Games matches themselves. The I don't know. 5-on-5, special.
Killian Dane, Pete Dunne, and Damian
Damian
Priest.
Priest has impressed me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they give that nod to Priest because I think he's I think he's got a great character, and I think they want to give it to a Pete Dunne because I think on a Big Four pay-per-view caliber, you're gonna want two guys like Cole and Dunne to have a good match.
Can
Yeah.
I say something without being racist? Is that always a good way to start a sentence? No. He
No,
reminds.
I'm not really racist, and I got black friends, like you said.
Go
earlier.
ahead, Jim Cornette. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
At least you asked permission
Come
first.
on, double cheese, double onions, motherfucker.
Killian Dane, his
Oh, boy.
the way he looks reminds me of the Jamaican from Street Fighter in the arcade game. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
God damn.
it reminds me of that, right?
I know. Gotta get-
You're all Googling it now. Like, I didn't even Google it. I'm just going off of memory.
Is his name like Zangief or something like that?
No, that's,
That's
the Russian
guy.
Yeah. But, well, it's funny, when they made the movie, they made him like a little puny whatever guy, and like he wasn't as big as what he was, but that's who it reminds me of. I gotta look him up. You guys can look up. Street Fighter, Jamaican guy. I don't know which one he's on. Just Google it. I gotta Google it now. It's gonna kill me if I don't. I'm Googling. What do I Google? Street
Well, what's next,
Fighter.
Credo? Yo, tell me how you feel about Nakamura, Asuka, and Kairi Sane, Credo. Go ahead.
Well, it wasn't racist, right? I just said he looked like a guy from Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter Jamaican. Is that what people would search for? Street Fighter
DJ.
Jamaican. He showed up. Yeah, DJ.
DJ.
Dejay. Seriously, that's Killian Dane. Look at him. Google Street Fighter Jamaican.
Well, he needs the hair because Killian Dane's very fucking hairy.
Oh, God damn. We have gone off the rails, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, are you mistaken, Killian Dane or the?
Not Killian Dane. Not Killian Dane. Damian Priest.
I was gonna say
Too
because
many.
I don't want to sound racist or anything.
So how does a fat Scottish ginger guy look like a fucking Jamaican?
Was I really
That's
saying
why,
that
like,
the
when
whole
you said-
time?
That's what you said. I had to look it up real quick, and then I'm looking at this, and you keep saying Killian Dane, and I'm like, I have
Jamaican. Wait a minute.
an African American in front of me
Damian
right now.
Killian. Survivor Series is also happening this weekend, Mike. There's a lot of notable matches. A Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio kind of a match. There's no way I see Rey Mysterio. It's a no holds barred, no DQ match though. So I mean, Rey could have the upper hand of beating him out with whatever. Could we see Rey Mysterio WWE champion in 2019? I don't know.
No, I mean,
Is it too far fetched? Could
I
Dominic
mentioned
do something to
earlier-
him or
yeah.
hit him with a car?
I mentioned earlier that there aren't many matches I was looking forward to on Survivor Series, and I completely forgot about this match. And honestly, I haven't been really too into Rey Mysterio since he's come back. But for this storyline, for some reason, once they separated him from the whole Cain Velasquez stuff, I actually really enjoyed the storylines, and I loved the promos from Raw. From Paul Heyman and Rey Mysterio's promo. So actually, I'm looking forward to that match. I can't believe I forgot all about it.
I know.
What match?
Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio. No holds barred, no DQ.
Oh, yeah, great.
I'm saying
No, the
Dominic's
build-up's
going to hit him with a
good.
car. Dominic's going to hit him with a car. Rey's going to land on him, and he wins. We could see Rey Mysterio walk out as WWE champion at the end of 2019. I've seen worse. I've seen crazier things,
I
but...
think
I'm the one
This
drinking
is-
White Claws, and I think you're more drunk than me.
this is his retirement tour.
Yeah, say goodbye to Rey. They'll kill Rey in this episode.
They're giving him a title match, and then we talk about jumping brands and stuff like that. Their tour in Mexico City, he's wrestling Bray Wyatt in a cage for the Universal title. So I think this is like their tour of him retiring. I enjoyed the story with them too. This is how much Survivor Series has been pissing me off that I actually forgot about this because, like I said, the promos from Paul Heyman and then Rey Mysterio's promo, I thought they were great. So I mean, we'll see how the match goes out though. The last time those two wrestled each other was like back in like 2005.
Oh.
I want to say a long time ago.
Well, I guess it's too obvious of a choice, but Brock could happen. But I mean, what else? I mean, there's a lot of a few other matches that might stand out though, because you got the Fiend, the new Universal Champion with a blue title, I might add.
Ugh, don't get me started.
Versus Daniel Bryan. I mean, take all the schematics, the drama, the whatever, the face paint out. Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan, I think, is not a bad match.
Let me ask you a question. How pissed off would you be if you had just bought a Universal title with that red background? No, I'm serious, though. I mean, that's fucked up, man.
And then it's like the blue one better, yeah.
I just hope they don't have a red light.
Oh, I forgot about that. This would be the place to just lose it. We don't need it anymore.
And honestly, you got to remember, guys, they're in Chicago. And CM Punk recently just signed with Fox, and he's on a WWE television show. And once again, we're in Chicago. Those CM Punk chants are going to be never ending if they put out something like the Fiend wrestling in a red light.
Could you imagine, this is all just a fucking work, and if, I know it's fun to think about these things, but, if they just brought him on TV to say he was going to host it, and then he's actually really returning, we're just marking out, being a fucking mark. But, you know what I mean? Just to think about, look, that's great creative. I just came with something creative. They would never even use it.
Oh, look, it's Joey Janela with his headset on, drinking White Claws.
Where the hell did that come from?
Right over here. You must forgive me. I only have lime and grapefruit left, and I don't like these flavors, so I'm extra angry.
Never had a White Claw, and I don't ever plan on having one.
Why?
I just don't. Not my thing. No, I rather drink.
Had one. How would you know?
Well, no, I've tried one before. Let me take that back.
What flavor?
Raspberry.
Okay. Not my favorite either.
It's not my thing. I'd rather have a Jack and Ginger.
Do they still make Smirnoff ices? Because
you know what? You know why I love these fucking things so much? No, they're 100 calories, right? There's no sugar in them. I can drink 8 or 9 of these if I wanted to, and not have a headache, not be hungover the next day. It's basically just fucking seltzer and fucking smidge of vodka.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a fan of seltzer. That's the only thing.
Well, I'm gonna give you a little trick, all right? Because you don't like the carbonation with it.
What's up?
You don't like it with the carbonation, right?
Seltzer, I'm just not a fan of. Never have been.
Cut it with a little bit of water and let it get flat. You'll love it.
Yeah, well, maybe. I will try the white girl drink called White Claw.
Listen, they're panty droppers, and my panties are about to drop right now.
Oh.
So back to Survivor Series, guys. What else? There's nothing much else. The mid-card champions, everybody liked that match, like you guys said before. Roderick, Styles, Nakamura. Could be great. You got the women's match, whatever. Men's tag team, whatever. The Survivor Series match, I think at the end of the day, without even going through it, it's got to go to NXT. I don't know.
I don't see that match going to NXT. I see Roddy somehow fucking pulling out a sneaky win. I could see Shayna fucking dominating the match or coming in and getting a quick tap. I could just see certain scenarios where an NXT talent's going to win, but there's no way they're winning that big tag match, that 5-on-5 elimination. There's no way. Not with the beef on the SmackDown side. It's just not happening.
It's the weekend, guys. Survivor Series War Games. Tune in next week for our Thanksgiving episode where we'll talk about anything.
Happy Thanksgiving, bitches.